All right, guys, we are live. Today with you guys, it's me, Sardar, GDG Tashkent, and today's our guest is Tилek Mamutov. He's a co-founder. He's the founder of Outtalent service, and he worked a lot in the past in the big companies. So, word to you, Tилek. You can start.
Hi everyone. Hi Sardar. It's a huge pleasure to be here. Still haven't been to Uzbekistan. I'm planning to go. I have some good friends there, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Tилek. I was born and raised in Bishkek. Grew up there. Went to college to study software engineering, and after I graduated, I stayed to work in Kyrgyzstan as a developer, and just lived about my life as pretty usual person until one day I get this email saying, "Would you like to apply to Google? Has all these benefits and free food and things like that." And I thought it was a scam. I thought they're trying to just get money out of me. It was too unreal, and turns out it was real. They found my resume online on monster.com. And the reason I put this resume is because I had this American teacher who asked me to create this resume as homework, and I just kept this resume up to date. And that's how they found me. I applied. I failed first time, but I realized I was very close. So for the next 6 months, I was preparing a lot for the interviews again, and with a lot of luck, managed to get it from the second time and joined Google in Dublin. So I worked there for 6 years. And after Google Dublin, I worked in Switzerland for a year. And then I moved to US, where I worked for 4 years at Google X. It's a department that's focused on what's called moonshots, this breakthrough technologies like self-driving cars, drone delivery. I worked on balloon internet, and I also worked on clean energy, clean water, worked on drone delivery as well. And for 2 years, I've been leading my own project, machine learning. But I decided I wanted to do my own startup for a while, and I wanted to do an education startup. So me and my brother, we started a company called Outtalent, where it's online education. It's this program, core program lasts 3 months. In total, it can last like 6 months, where we help outstanding developers with algorithms, system design, behavioral interviews, resume, and we help them make sure they get an interview, pass the interview, and get good offers. We want developers to get many offers, which are very good at companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, in US, Canada, Europe, and yeah, the developers only pay if they get a job they wanted, and they pay a percentage of their salary. So this way, we are trying to make sure you have the highest salary possible. The more salary you have, the better it is for us as well. So this model, I think, is the future of education, because you don't pay if you didn't get what you want.
Yes.
And the school makes sure you get the maximum, and you get to the best possible city, etc. So, and the mentors that we have, they are engineering managers or senior engineers at companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon. And yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, great to hear that. So I think a lot of our community members heard about your service, and a couple of weeks ago, you had some sort of webinar in our lead code community. So you introduced your service, and a lot of people were excited about that. So we can move on to Q&A. So before doing this webinar, we collected questions ready, so I can ask you. So the first question is the main difference of Outtalent from other services, because it's not secret that Outtalent is not one in the world. I mean, there are a lot of services who are based in London, who are based in like US, like in Russia. There are a lot of services who help you to get into FANG companies. So what's your main difference?
Can you name one service?
There was a service called, for example, the Victoria Baradian service also helps you to get into FANG. And there was also one, I think it's like African-based company. I don't remember, but their price was like 15% for their services. And there was also the London company. So let me search that.
It's okay. Maybe I can start answering the question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I mean, Vika, I know her well. So she interviewed me on her channel. So she's more focused. She's focused on the U.S. So if you really want to go directly to U.S., she's trying to help you with a special visa for extraordinary abilities. And after you get the visa, she helps with interviews as well. So that's one. I think it's more immigration focused. And first of all, so the advantages she has is it's a US focused. And if you really want to get to US, you go directly. I think the disadvantages is there is a risk. So first of all, you pay money upfront, and then you may not get the visa. So there is an immigration risk that you may get a visa rejection. I don't know if they get any rejections. Maybe they didn't. So that's a path, and it's more expensive. I think they charge like 4 times more than we do, I believe, something like that. Maybe they changed. I don't follow them much. So these are pros and cons of their service. I don't know about the African service and the London service, but I think our philosophy is we get the best possible mentors. We have, as I said, for example, one of the salary negotiation is done by a machine learning engineer at Google X who works on agriculture robotics. His salary is crazy high, and he negotiated his own salary with Google. He worked at Google and Apple and Amazon and Microsoft. So he worked at a lot of these big tech companies, and he negotiated his salary very successfully. He increased his stock from what recruiter offered by twice as much, right? So he's a very good negotiator. And so we have like an algorithms mentor who works at Google, and we have somebody who taught at MIT, right? He was teacher assistant at MIT, and then he worked as an engineering manager at Stripe. He worked at Facebook. Now he's a systems design mentor. So the idea is to have the best possible mentors and work with the best possible companies. Our most popular employer is Google, and our second most popular employer is Facebook. You can always ask any school and college, boot camp, university, or service, what are your most popular employers? And if the service is very good, like MIT or Stanford, then the companies will be like Google and Facebook. So we are kind of equal to them in terms of the companies people join. And you only pay even $1 if you get a job that you want, which is not the case with most services. And you pay only if you get into top 10. So you write top 10 companies that you like. Usually it's Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, typically. And you only pay if you get there, top 10. So this way, I think it's very beneficial because we make sure you get a great job, and we make sure you to increase your salary by like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, because it's very beneficial for us as well. So
Yeah.
these are quite specific differences, and it depends who you compare us to.
Yes, sure. Thank you for the answer. So to make kind of conclusion, so your main difference is how you prepare your clients, developers, to get a job, to the interview. I think that's the important one, because if you cannot pass the interview, so you don't have a job. So that makes sense. So if I'm not mistaken, the Victoria focus mostly on like getting the documents done, and after that they will try to find the jobs. So next one is they ask like the most of the guys' questions is kind of similar. So I will kind of make summary. So what's the requirements for getting Outtalent? Like what's the process of getting into your service?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I just want to add one more difference is I mentioned that Vika is focused on moving to US. We are focused on companies, and we are mainly focused on Europe and Canada, right? So if you want to get to US, our approach is you spend 1 or 2 years in London or Zurich or Dublin or Vancouver, and after that you move, right? So it's a slower process, but you're gonna work at like Google and Facebook. If that's okay with you, then it's good. Or if you just want to live in Europe or Canada, then it's great. So that's an important difference. In terms of the next question, which is requirements, so what we're focused now on software engineers. We have two programs. We have Everest, and Everest is a program where you need to have some experience. Usually it's two years or more. We make exceptions. If you achieved something on an international scale, we'll make an exception. But usually it's 2 years or more. You need to speak English, and just you need to have like breadth and depth of engineering skills. Ideally distributed computing, but not required. Algorithms, you need to know the basics, but you don't need to solve any lead code anymore. Before that, we used to accept only if you solve, let's say, 200 problems on lead code, but now we accept even without that. But you need to know algorithms. You need to know the basics, like theory. So that's important. So that's more for experienced engineers. And in parallel, we have Outtalent Wonder, which the program we just started for junior female developers. It's kind of a big problem in the industry that there's like a gender imbalance, and companies like Google and Facebook, they did a lot of scientific studies that companies and teams perform better when there's more diversity. They are more profitable, there's more revenue, more users, and they want to kind of improve there. So there's more interest from their side. So we wanted to kind of do what's good for business, but also do what's good for a kind of more diverse society. So we started this program for junior developers. In general, from Uzbekistan, we have only one person for now in the program. We have a lot of people from Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Only one from Uzbekistan for now. So hopefully there will be more.
Yeah, sure. So you said that you are mostly focused on like experienced software engineers and junior female developers, and there was some question like, do you help with the students after graduation for getting interns also?
When we started Outtalent, we were helping students who just for internships, and we were helping newly graduates, called new grads. It is much harder in our experience. Only like half of them got jobs, and our goal is that for all of them get jobs. So maybe we'll do it again later, but it's a little bit more risky. Like in our main group, 100% of people get jobs. It's just in the other group, it's like 50%. And yes, we did help with internships before. We had people who interned at Google and Facebook, other companies, and we helped new grads. We had new grads who joined Google as well. And I recommend everyone to apply in any case. Even if we don't help you now, we may start internship and new grad program a little bit later. Yeah, I recommend everyone to apply anyways.
Yeah, sure. So do you have some sort of, how to say, like KPI for tracking developers' progress inside your service?
Yeah, I mean, we track how much they learned, how many, like which lectures they finished, and which seminars, how many lead code problems they solved, and things like that.
So if the developer focuses and do the tasks which you guys give them, so they will get the job within 3 or 6 months, right?
So 3 months is the main program, and we had people who definitely took them more. There was different cases. There was like a personal, like there was a war in Azerbaijan, Armenia, right? So that's kind of a delaying, could delay. So it depends, but our main program is 3 months. In reality, sometimes it took more for some people, but then it takes a few months, like a couple of months, to actually interview and to negotiate your salary. And then it takes a certain number of months when you wait for visa. It's faster in Europe, it's slower in Canada. And of course, during COVID, it's a little bit uncertain. But usually people get visa like in 3 to 6 months after they get an offer.
All right, gotcha. And the next question is kind of related, general in software development. As you know, the interview process in the West and in the East, like in a post-Soviet Union countries, is very different. For example, in Russia, in Belarus, Ukraine, the interview is like specific to frameworks, specific to like software tools, and etc. In terms of in the US, in Europe, it's kind of more abstract. Like as we know, we have like system design questions and etc. So, what do you think? Which one is better?
I think it depends on the size a lot. If you're a small company, you want people to start immediately and quickly create a lot of value. If you're Google or Microsoft, you are a $1 trillion company, right? It's a huge company. You can take in a lot of engineers and they can do nothing for 3 years, right?
Yes.
But what they do is they take in smart people who can join many teams. They want people to stay there for many, many years, right? So they're just trying to find smart people who will be very ambitious and learn. And then it's okay if it takes them time to learn a new language, right? It's okay if they don't know C++ or Python. And if they come with like C#, they can wait until people learn within Google or Microsoft or whatever, and then they get started. It's a little bit different from company to company because Apple is kind of like a small company in this case. They want people to immediately get started. But generally, big tech companies, they're just trying to hire smart people, and they don't care as much about specific programming language, framework, stack in general.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, there was a question. So after getting a job with the help of Outtalent, does Outtalent help to its clients with housing, insurance, and choosing like good district in the city which they are going?
Sure. Usually, if you get an offer from Google or Facebook, they have a whole separate service to help you with that. So they give you insurance and they have a ton of services because these are the best companies to work for. So they have a lot of support in helping this. I usually offer help, but usually people say there's already a lot of help on their side. So even though I offered, nobody ever asked me Only once in Dublin, because I lived in Dublin for 6 years. Somebody asked me like which neighborhood I would recommend, but usually Google's and Facebook's, etc. They take care of that.
I see. Yeah. And another question is like a general. What's kind of disadvantages of working in the big companies?
Disadvantages, it could be a little bit slow. It could be a little bit bureaucratic. You, like in a smaller company, you may launch 100 features in 1 year. In big company, it could be like 3 features, like in Gmail. Because in these 3 features, you need to test them a lot. You need to make sure privacy is done well, that you're logging everything. But the good thing is, once you launch this feature, it's used by 2 billion people, 3 billion people, right? So it's insane to affect 3 billion people, right? It was never possible before that you do something, one person, and 3 billion people use it. It was never possible. So now it is, which is a very unusual job. And there's disadvantages and advantages to that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So another one was also like related to FANG. So they said that for some people, getting promotion is very fast. Like they can get from intern to senior engineer within 2 years, and some cannot get any promotion within a couple of years. So how that possible?
I don't know a case where somebody got from intern to senior engineer in 2 years. I've never heard that. I mean, it depends on the person and on the company. It takes some time to get promoted. Usually from a new graduate from intern to new grad is like a different interview process. You're applying for a different job pretty much. From new grad to middle level, it can take 1 or 2 years, and then a couple of years until senior, and then it can take any number of years until staff. So it depends how good you are.
All right.
Some people are much, they create more impact and collaborate better, etc. So it really depends on the person.
Yeah. So from this, can we say that it's hard to get promotion in big companies rather than in the startups?
Yes, I mean in a startup you can become a CTO or vice president. Right? if there's like three people, yes, but also the scope will be bigger, right?
Yeah.
If you are a staff software engineer at Google, you may be leading a huge product for 1 billion people. If you're a CTO at startup, you may have 10 users, right? So I don't really know what these titles mean. So it depends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there was questions related to Outtalent. Was there any kind of interesting cases during the program with your clients? Like, I don't know, some fun stuff, so weird cases.
Weird cases. Well, I don't know. We had people who did Outtalent twice. We have one girl, Aliyah. She got an internship with Bloomberg, and then she got a job at DeepMind, which is Google's AI lab. So that's one case. We had a case where somebody got rejected from Stripe. So he got a rejection, he got an email rejection, but then we wrote to Stripe and said, no, we think it's wrong. We think this person is actually very good, and this was a mistake. And then they changed the rejection, and then they invited him for an interview, and then he got accepted, and he got a job now in Dublin. So we already did it twice. We changed the rejection to accept because we believe they're very strong, and we fight for them. So our idea is we fight for our candidates as much as we can. So that's something that's new. I'm very, very proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So there was like a general question related to how to get into FANG, like what's the process? Can you explain more about what's the system design, what's the behavioral design questions, and etc.?
Yeah, so the most difficult thing is to pass the resume stage. That's when more than 99% of people will not pass. If you pass the resume stage, then there's usually a call with the recruiter. Usually they just check for your English and if you know the company you're applying for, if you have good motivations, basic technical knowledge. After that, there's usually a call with an engineer, a technical interview, oftentimes algorithms focused. And if you pass it before pandemic, you fly for an on-site, so you fly to the office, and then you have, let's say, 5 interviews. Depends on the company. And those 5 interviews, you could have 3 algorithms interviews, 1 system design, 1 behavioral. And again, it depends on the role. If you're an iOS developer or Android or backend, full stack, which company. But usually that's the process. You have algorithms, system design, and behavioral. And then hopefully you get an offer, then you negotiate your offer, and then you sign it.
All right. So just to make kind of clear for our community members, a system design interview is like process where the interviewer give you some sort of system to design, like build some app or build the Facebook. So you have to make some sort of layers, models to show how you can build the this app or application program. So behavioral question is mostly related to kind of your past roles, all right?
It's behavioral is about kind of your work culture and habits. For example, how do you deal with conflicts, right? Can you manage conflicts well? Do you have leadership skills? So yeah, they just want to know more about how you behave in the company, how you work in the team.
Gotcha. So you said about the negotiation. For example, you got an offer from Google and they offer you like 200K. So you just say that you want more like 220 and that's it, or how the process will look like?
The most important thing there is to get more than 1 offer. If you only get Google and you ask for more, most of the times they will tell you no. Maybe they'll give you a little bit. They'll give you like $2,000, $3,000, which is still a lot, right? You should still ask. Give this money to your mom, right? But you should still ask. Most people, I never asked. Well, like I didn't ask when I applied to Google because I was so happy and I was afraid if I'm gonna ask, they're gonna change their mind. But they're not gonna change their mind. So don't ask for something crazy. Do your research. But yes, if you only have 1 offer, you're not gonna get much, most likely. So you need to get more than 1, and it should be about equal companies. Like Google and Facebook, they usually like considered equal, or like Amazon, Uber, like a lot of these top big companies, they are similar. And if you get similar offers, it's great because you can say, hey, Google, but Facebook gave me this 220. And then Google says, okay, we'll give you 220. And then, or 225. And then you go to Facebook and say, hey, Google gave me 225. So you can like keep raising it. You shouldn't do it for too long, maybe like 2 or 3 rounds. That's one of the best ways to increase your salary, is to have more than 1 offer. And at Outtalent, so if you apply alone, if you're really strong, you may get 1 offer. But our job is to make sure you get 3, 4, 5 offers. In average, Outtalent graduate gets more than 3 offers from these companies.
What's the most difficult part in the interview process? The algorithm or system design?
Depends on the person. Usually algorithms. For most people, it's algorithms. If you're very experienced with algorithms, if you're a competitive programmer, for example, if you participated in the Olympiads, Then for you, there's other challenges: behavioral, system design, English, just in general. Yeah, but the most difficult one will be to get invited to an interview,
Yeah,
which is what we help with. Yeah.
Say, yeah, you help with the referrals, so you have like like co-workers, colleagues who work there, and they can refer your clients.
Yes, but we also work with managers directly sometimes. So we either work with our community of people from Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan and Russia and all around the world who work in these companies. We work with recruiters and we work with engineering managers.
Gotcha. So there was a question from members. So can you tell us about failures? For example, you have helped for people, like he means your client. You Outtalent helped for people, but he or she always fail. So how much percent of people can be like in these situations from your clients? Like you,
I'm not sure I understand the question. Just talk about failures when people don't get the job.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of failures in the beginning of the company when we just didn't know exactly what to do. And a lot of the failures were people never got invited to interviews. We found a developer who was like really strong. We write a recommendation and then they apply and then they don't get invited to interviews. And then I actually talked to Google head of recruiting in Europe. And he explained to me that for new grads, it's extremely competitive and much more competitive than for others. And we decided to kind of to shift our focus because of that. So yeah, that's the situation. We basically failed to help new grads, some of them. Maybe like half of them got jobs, but half of them didn't. Something like that. I don't have exact stats. With interns, it was a little bit similar. I think with interns, more than half got offers. But once we switched to senior engineers, all of them got offers.
First try, you mean? Like, so they didn't get any rejections or something?
Who?
I mean, your clients. So you said that.
I mean, they get rejections for sure, but everyone gets rejections. I don't know. I don't have any client who didn't get any rejection. Everyone gets rejections, but the idea is you get 5 acceptance and then a few rejections. And I mean, we learn from any rejection. We analyze it. Why did the person not pass this interview? I mean, maybe not every single interview, but we have a database now where we're collecting of interviews, and this way we can learn from any rejection, any failure.
And yeah, and there was also general questions about the interns. So there are kind of a couple of people who are studying in universities, and they were interested in the process of the internship. So the step by step.
Yeah, so internships, it's hard. It's possible. There, it's really important for somebody to recommend you to get a referral from these companies, and it's really important to have a great resume. It's really important to apply to like 1,000 companies. It's not going to be normal, but these companies are very hard to get. Right? The whole world is applying to it. India applying to it, China, Nigeria, Brazil, like the whole world is applying to it. You cannot just apply for 3 internships and be okay with it. You have to apply to hundreds and hundreds. And then you have to learn, of course. You cannot just blindly apply. So I know a lot of people who apply to 100 companies, and that's how they get it. So you need to really believe in yourself, keep trying, keep learning, keep watching videos like this one. Internships is very competitive because there are many students. Like there's like all the students, and then after each year they drop out, right? Like after 1 year, somebody decided software engineering is not for me, or after they graduate, they decided, okay, software engineering is not for me. So it usually decreases. So at the internships, there's more competition. It's definitely possible. We have a video on the Outtalent YouTube channel about internships. Maybe I'll can link to it.
Yeah, you can give me. We can post it on YouTube. And there was also like general questions. What are your recommendations for new CS students? How to get ready for FANG companies?
For people who are just students?
Yeah, just graduated from university. So
Yeah.
From our talk, if I understood, so if I don't have any international recognition awards or something, so I have to get like 2 years experience and apply it to your service, or like I have to solve a lot of lead code problems and etc.
Yeah, if you're young, if you're junior and you don't have much experience, you have to show yourself you have to become the best in your country, or you have to win something internationally. Like it could be either Olympiads, coding competitions, hackathons, just something that shows that you're one of the best, right? Or you're doing something great internationally. If you are okay average in Uzbekistan, then it's hard, right? Because there's so few people from Uzbekistan even at these companies. So you have to do something great on international scale. I mean, great in software engineering, or build a project, build a game, make an app that becomes popular. So you have to do better than others, right? Much better than average.
I think we talked about this question in our lead coders community, but there was also kind of similar to those ones. So what do you think about remote work in a big IT companies? Do they allow you to work in a remotely living in your country? For example, you get a job offer from Google and you go to, I don't know, to London, you work there and you came back to Uzbekistan. Can I work from Uzbekistan to Google London or something?
Right now, no, because there are taxation differences, and
Yes.
there are there are laws that maybe Uzbekistan will mean that they can have access to your computer or something like that. So there are laws that make it difficult. So if you want to work from Uzbekistan, you can only work as a contractor, and that you can do with some companies, only very few companies like Reddit. If you want to work at Reddit, it's okay. Okay. If you want to work at like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, etc., Apple, I don't think it's possible.
I see. So does Reddit pay you as a like in a US rate, or they will kind of see where you live and based on your location they will change the salary?
Most companies pay based on your location.
All right.
But there are some exceptions, and the exception is Basecamp. Basecamp pays the same San Francisco salary everywhere, which is very, very high, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So Basecamp is great. It's a very small thing. And then there's new startups that are starting to pay the same. They're paying the same very high salary all around the world. It's very expensive to do. You need to have a lot of money as a startup to do it, as a company. But usually companies don't do it, almost never.
So if I'm not mistaken, Basecamp is like a web studio or something?
No, it's a project management software.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
I don't use it, but some people do, I guess.
but they pay like high salaries for its developers. Yeah.
It's probably somebody uses it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it pretty much, I guess. So like we have like story of 40 questions. So we collected it and they make like the into group. So there was some questions from YouTube. I'm just filtering it out. Yeah, there was question like as you know, the Google has like programs like GDE, Google Developer Group, or like GDG. Does it somehow help to get job there or something?
Maybe just a little bit. I don't think it helps a lot. I mean, the biggest advantage of it is getting to know people. Like through GDG, you can know people who work at Google, and they can do a referral, right? Or they can tell you like there's a new team, or it's more about networking rather than resume. In the resume, it helps a little bit, but it's not going to help you a lot. I don't think it's going to help a ton, but it's going to help a little bit.
Yes, gotcha. I think pretty much that's it. So if you have any comments, if you have any thoughts, you can share with us, Tilek.
Sure. I mean, I recommend to follow us on Telegram. It's just called Outtalent. It's our channel. We also have a Telegram account, which is Team Outtalent. It's our team. So it's called Team Outtalent. So you can message it. Then we have a YouTube channel with a lot of interviews like this. We have LinkedIn, where we post a lot of interesting things as well, I think. Then we have Twitter account. We have Instagram. What else do we have? We don't have Facebook or TikTok. Yeah, but I think the best is to follow us on Telegram and LinkedIn. After that, Twitter and Instagram. But Telegram and LinkedIn are best channels for us. So I recommend you to follow me, add me on LinkedIn, and add us on Telegram. That's, I think, a good way to continue the conversation. Telegram, we also have Outtalent Cafe. That's when you can meet a lot of our mentors and graduates and other people. It has about 800 people now. I think it's a very good group. It's called Outtalent Cafe on Telegram.
Yeah, so sorry that there was also like an additional question. So Rustam is asking, is it difficult to get into AI teams in big companies?
I mean, it's difficult in general, so it's also same difficulty pretty much.
I mean, the interview process is the same for all teams, right? It's different.
It depends what you mean by difficult. It's different. For AI, it's a different process, and it depends. Do you want to be a machine learning researcher in AI, or you want to be just a normal software engineer in AI? But in any case, it's difficult, but it's possible.
Yes.
I don't know what it means, right? What do you want to understand, right? It's all difficult, but it's all possible. It's a very interesting question.
Yes, and there was also some question related to cybersecurity. Do you help your clients with getting into like cybersecurity roles?
Not yet. I would like to at some point. I think it's a very growing area, but we don't yet. We're mainly focusing on backend and a little bit of iOS.
All right. I think that's it, pretty much. So thank you, Tilek, for your time, for sharing your thoughts and explaining how Outtalent works. Hopefully, the young Uzbek people will be interested into this and will apply to your service in order to get into big companies.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Yes, I encourage everyone to apply. We have a deadline to apply on May 3rd for junior batch and May 9th for senior. So I recommend you to apply now. It only takes 2 minutes. And I think it's good to start talking to us in any case. If you get rejected, it's okay. We always ask for people to keep applying. Everything is possible. Correct, Rustam, I agree.
Thank you very much. So thank you guys for joining us. So we will end our broadcast. So if you have any questions in the future, so you can just post it in our GDG Tashkent channel. So we will help you to answer them. So thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Sardar.